Today I'm checking out this 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter. All right, so out of the box, this is what it comes with. It comes with the manual, of course. It comes with 3 sets of screws and anchors. This is to mount the control panel that it comes with and for the inverter itself. And it comes with 3 gauge lead wires. So that's good. It's got nice hardy gauge wires to lead into this. This is a remote that allows you to plug this into the inverter and then mount it, like if you're in your RV or somewhere, on a wall where you can just turn the inverter on and off. And of course, this is the inverter itself. On this side, you've got the remote where you plug it in, and you've got a USB connection here if you need to use that. You got a readout here that's a display that shows you, if it's got a fault and how much power and everything's being used. And of course, 3 AC ports. This is where you'll plug in your appliances or your RV, whatever you're using. And on this side, it's got the 2 lugs to put this down, 2 nice hardy fans, and a ground. On and off switch here. What I like about this one is it comes with these caps. So let me show you this. They, unscrew. And this is just the screw for the cap. So you basically put your lugs on your incoming wires, and then you put this over it and put the little cap. And this, just gives you an extra layer of protection so you're not grounding it out accidentally. So I do like these extra little caps it does have. And that's pretty much it out of the box. Let's hook this thing up. I have a dehumidifier that I'm going to run on this that kind of has the same specs as our residential refrigerator in our RV. It does have a higher load rating, which is good. I'd rather test with something higher than something lower. So let's get into hooking this up. So this is how I got it hooked up. I got the red wire, of course, to the positive, the black wire to the negative. I got it hooked up to the shunt here so we can monitor, all the statistics coming out of the battery. I've got this propped up with this little screwdriver, so you should be able to see this here in the video. Then I've got this inverter, of course, turned off right now, and that's why it's pulling 0 watts. I've got the dehumidifier plugged in to the inverter, and as soon as I hit this AC switch on that's on this other side, it's going to send power to the dehumidifier, which right now is turned off. It should just power like the LCD. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. So you get this beep from the inverter. It kicks the fan on real high for just a moment. You see it kicks all the way up to almost to 30 watts of power. But that fan should, oh, there it goes. The fan kicks down and it's just kind of idling at 20 watts of power. Now, some of this wattage is because the dehumidifier is running, so that's probably 10 and 10. It's probably using 10 watts. But anyway, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the dehumidifier, and we're going to watch the load on that. All right, so as you can see, the wattage is already kicked up. It's booting up 200, 300. The inverter is handling it flawlessly, and it actually is reading the wattage pretty close. It's saying it's powering about 455, and that's saying 474. So again, that's about a 20 watt overhead, but that's pretty good. That's about a 95% efficiency. So that's actually pretty good for an inverter. So I'm gonna let this run for a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can catch that compressor kicking on and jolting up. But this inverter should have no problem. The specs on this is 2000 watts continuous and a 4000 watt peak. So we may not even see it. It might be that quick because compressors kick on pretty fast. But I mean, this thing is handling it no problem. Hasn't even kicked on the fans. I mean, it's still as cool as it is when it came out of the box. So let me let it run for a little bit and I'll check back in. All right, so I've watched it for a little bit now. I've heard the compressor kick on a couple times and it actually spiked up, peaked, no problem at all. Now, what I will say is this inverter will kick on its fans at about 600 watts. So when it did peak, the fans kicked on. They, I guess, monitored the situation for a moment and then the fans kicked back off because, I mean, I don't even feel a noticeable difference in temperature of this inverter. So we're, averaging around 500 watts and it's not even sweating it. So that's great, that 4th load is doing good. But then I decided, all right, so let's stress it a little bit. So I went and got this heat gun and it maxes out at 1500 watts. So let's see if we can stress it all the way up to 2000, get it to even get beyond 2000, see how it reacts. So I'm kicking the heat gun on. All right. That kicked up about 80 watts. And now I'm going to kick up the temperature. There you can see the wattage is kicking up. We're at about 800. Now we drop back down because I'm still kicking up the temperature. Now we're in the kilowatts because this heat gun is getting hot. I'm trying to stress it as much as I can. Oh, there we go. We got into the 2 kilowatts. So we're pushing it past its normal continuous running. And I'm maxing out this heat gun. It's super hot, pointing it away from everything. And we are pulling out 2,000 watts. And yeah, it is handling it no problem. I'm gonna kick it down because I don't really supposed to be running that battery that hard. All right, so I kicked that down. Let's let the fans kick down. All right, so I can definitely say it seems to do pretty good. It didn't even stress it. I actually went over the 2,000 watts for a decent amount of time. Most inverters would get really close to this 2,000 watts. They would start beeping or tripping. This thing handled it like a champ. And I did kick it down rather quickly because this only supposed to be kicking out about 100 amps. This is a deep cycle battery and not a high ampage battery. So yeah, I'd say this is a good, strong 2,000 watt inverter. You're gonna get your 2,000 watts out of this, and it definitely has room for peakage. Seems like it's gonna do everything we need it to do and more. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all take care.